when we look at that data, as you talk about that, it is about the validity. It is about whether that data is prejudice-free or not. It is equally important that how do we analyze that data.
So the traditional, T concept of saying that I want to be a generalist in the beginning and then start going down a narrow path, I think it worked well in the past.
There is going to be another thing which is called sustainability. They'll be working a lot on the sustainability, ensuring that whatever the contribution the particular firm is making towards the planet and measuring that contribution as well.
Hello, my name is Ramachandran. I'm a professor and vice dean at the General School of Banking and Finance. I've been into the academic world for the last 8 years, but prior to that, for 35 years, I spent time in the industry, primarily providing consulting support for large Wall Street firms based in New York. My focus area is on artificial intelligence, robotic process automation, and how it is majorly transforming different industries, including financial services, education, and retail.
Hi, I'm Prabhanshu Mittal, Head of Education Partner Relationships, India for Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, ACCA. I've been working with ACCA for almost 10 years now and have got a total year experience of almost 15 plus years. At ACCA, I'm responsible for managing the education partners, which is the approved learning partner, and the institutional business for entire India.
Thank you. I think that the whole profession of finance and accounting is changing dramatically, and it is moving from a very transactional nature to a more transformational nature. The financial analysts, the audit specialists, they are more focused on providing strategic advice to their chief financial officers and to the CEOs in terms of what they should be thinking about in the future, rather than saying this is what happened in the past. So I think that is the one major dramatic shift that is happening around what the role of finance and accounting professionals are. I mean, I can elaborate on that, but I think very broadly speaking, transactional to transformational is what I think. What do you think?
I think it's a great thought which you have just shared, which is about that the finance professionals are actually moving from their regular transactional tasks to more of the tasks which transform the organization, which impact the organization, businesses, and the economy at large. That's why, we see that the chief financial officers are now evolving as the chief value officers, because they are not only working on the regular task or regular jobs which require the data to be produced, but rather now they are actually the part of the decision-making table itself. They are also working with the variety of the departments, whether it is marketing, whether it is operations, supply chain, logistics, anything. Any department which you see, the finance folks are actually interacting with them, working very closely with them. So in terms of the future skills, I think one which is very critical is the people. They have to be working with the variety of the departments. They have to be working across all the geographies, across all the functions. So they have to have that ability to work with the people at large. Collaboration is another skill which they need to be developing. Leadership, and of course, other than all of these things, which is more importantly is the technology. They should be looking out and adopting, embracing the technology for the future.
The important part of this entire exercise is that while technology is transforming globally, the finance function, if you will, the accounting function, if you will, the real engine behind all this stuff is data, right? As the advent of near real-time data coming in, the advent of new ways of running analytics, the new types of information that is available at the disposal of finance and accounting professionals makes it even more opportunistic for them to come up with better decisions. But at the same time, what is also happening is that the process of decision making has to change as well, right? It is critical that they think about the data that they are collecting and using, whether they are without any bias, number one. They are appropriate to use or not, because one has to look at the data privacy and security regulations. And so the challenge for any CFO officers, if you will, goes beyond saying I want to use these data points, whether it's through sentiment analysis or through basic transactional information, is around how much of that data is reliable, how much of the data is verifiable, how much of that information actually can be used for making forecasts and making projections. So that is where the human judgment and cognition comes into play, right? You need data to measure, you need data to make decisions, but you need to have the right data at the right time and right place to be able to make those decisions, and that requires human cognition and the ability to judge what is right and what is wrong.
But with the usage of the technology, of course, and the amount of the data what we have today, whether it is finance or whether it is related to any other function, the data is actually huge, right? And when we look at that data, as you talk about that, it is about the validity. It is about whether that data is prejudice free or not. It is equally important that how do we analyze that data. It is not only about that what kind of the functions I'm actually throwing into while analyzing the data, but also how am I actually putting my human intelligence when I'm doing that analysis. And that becomes very critical here. That is what. That is about how the insight is being generated, but how that insight is being analyzed, that is equally important. When we are sitting on the table, I have to use that piece of the information which is more relevant on the table of decision making, right? And that's where the human cognition and the intelligence plays a very critical role.
I'll just add to that. I mean, there are so many examples of how data has been inadvertently or otherwise been misused, right? So, for example, we have the biases that these data brings in, especially when you're thinking about near real-time data coming in terms of loan processing, in terms of being able to hiring, right? All these have, if you're just basing it on data rather than on human cognition, you are likely to go wrong, and it has gone wrong in the past. And there are so many use cases that shows that people have been denied loans for whatever reasons based on their ethnic backgrounds and so on and so forth, and that is because the data is biased. And so one needs to be very careful and be cognitive of the fact that one needs to understand how and when to use the data more intelligently, and for that we need human intelligence rather than machine intelligence, I would say. So should I go deep or should I go broad? I think that's the question. And the answer is you need to do a little bit of both. So the traditional T concept of saying that I want to be a generalist in the beginning and then start going down a narrow path, I think it worked well in the past. I believe that in the future of work, one needs to be a generalist, but one also needs to build experiences and expertise in certain areas, whether it is certain functions or multiple functions, or functions with technology, functions with other areas as well. That's the only way things are going to be relevant for you in terms of from a career standpoint. The future of work demands that one has the mental elasticity and resilience to say things will change. Wow. So the kind of jobs that you have right now is going to be significantly different than the work of the future. So I think the World Economic Forum had said that in India, for example, 50% of the jobs are going to be completely different in the next 5 years' time. Okay? So what does that really mean? Because 34% of those jobs are not even been defined at this stage. So that puts a lot of pressure on you as potential students, and we as academicians and the industry people to ensure that we continuously monitor as to what is changing in the workplace and what kind of skills will be relevant for you. And so I think that one needs to be flexible in terms of saying that, okay, I want to learn about a specific area today, but 5 years from now, your profession and your career path may take a very different run. So you need to be able to learn something completely different. So just me personally, this is my third career. And so I'm sure that in your lifetime, you'll probably change 3 or 4 careers as well. So, Prabhanshu?
I, uh, for example, I think in the question itself, it has been asked about the sustainability.
Yeah.
Now, sustainability is becoming very important. Now, as a finance professional, what should I do? I have to make a fine balance between the people, planet, and the profit. Right? Now, it covers the human skills, it covers the financial acumen, and it covers being responsible towards what we do. In the beginning, I mentioned about the chief value officer, that the CFOs are actually becoming CVOs. As a aspiring chief value officer, what I should do? I should actually drive the conversations which offer more value to the stakeholders at large. That is where I should actually be focusing upon. Now, as you mentioned, sir, that the things are evolving and they are changing, faster than ever. Let's take an example. A couple of decades back, there was no computers. We all used to be doing the accounting, which is very traditional, using traditional red books and traditional bookkeeping methods. Now, every household has got a computer at their place. Now, has that changed? Has that taken away the jobs? The answer is no. Has that changed the way we function? The answer is yes. And that is going to be the future as well. We should continue to aspire and seek the guidance that where the future is actually moving forward and be vigilant about it. For example, now Microsoft workbooks and all those traditional skills, that is something which as an employer, we take that for granted that the aspiring professionals know about them. What we are looking out for, can you work? Can you do the data analytics? Or can you work on the artificial intelligence or the machine learning? That's where the future is moving, and we should continue to develop ourselves.
I believe strongly, I have a very binary answer to this, that the future of reporting, the way we think about reporting, compliance reporting, regulatory reporting, regular external reporting, that's going to become a lot more meaningless. Now, what do I mean by that? That means on a near real-time basis, information is going to be made available to the public at large, including all the stakeholders, be it the regulators, be it the shareholders, in terms of how the organization is doing, right, and performing. And once you have the capability to do automatic reconciliation, adjustments, and the ability to think about the closing the books, so to say, by different accounting standards, it's going to enable you to make decisions that much faster and be able to make the quote-unquote reports on a real-time basis. So the question of this quarterly close and monthly close and soft close, all those concepts will become kind of redundant in the very near future, I believe. Just like if you think about the securities world, at one point in time, the settlements of securities used to happen on a T+5 basis. Then it moved to T+2, then it became T+1. Now it's end of day. So even if you look at the Bombay Stock Exchange or NASDAQ, for example, a lot of those happens at the end of the day. Now people are talking about, the NSE is talking about making it come to a near real-time basis. And I'm sure that is going to percolate into other finance and accounting areas as well. We are surrounded by AI, and we are living and breathing AI these days almost on a daily basis. So I think November 2022 became the hallmark or the key point in our lifetime because that's when ChatGPT was released. And since then, the life of everyone, including those of students, changed dramatically, right? And since then, so in terms of the capabilities that we see in the ChatGPT of November 2022, and what we see in all different forms of generative AI, be it Claude or 3.7 or O3 or the DeepSeek or any of the other ones, or the Midjourneys, DALL-E, the ability to do and perform functions that we could not imagine before, right? The whole multimodal model that is available for us to combine text, image, videos, and create outputs that we did not even think about. So from the generative AI to agentic AI, now to recursive AI, the evolution of artificial intelligence in our everyday life has been dramatic, to say the least. And that will continue to evolve even more so, because we are only at the beginning of the AI revolution, I would say. So what does that mean as human beings, and what is it that we need to be aware of? So I would say that if you are a regulator, if you are a policymaker, one needs to be aware of the guardrails that you need to put in place to ensure that this doesn't become a runaway AI, be it in terms of the data, whether it's in terms of the algorithms. One needs to be aware of that. The second thing as citizens is that there is a cost to this AI, and the cost comes in the form of the impact on planet. You talked about the planet as a key measure, and how do we take care of our own universe, right? So the amount of energy that is required to run these different models has a significant impact in terms of how we are using either fossil fuels or otherwise, and the consumption of energy. So we need to be cognizant of that. And number three, as users, right, day-to-day users, as finance professionals or as students, we need to be aware of what these different models and AI can do and what it cannot do, more importantly. The amount of false positives that these AIs models generate is huge, and it's very easy to trap them and fall in prey to that. So we need to be very vigilant as to what it can do and what it cannot do. So that's what my...
In fact, when we look at the future of the finance, there are a few core areas onto which the finance professionals will continue to work, and of course there will be a few new ones. Compliance and control, of course, is going to be one of the core functions onto which the future finance professionals will continue to work. There is going to be another thing which is called sustainability. They'll be working a lot on the sustainability, ensuring that whatever the contribution the particular firm is making towards the planet, and measuring that contribution as well. Technology, Professor, you have already talked about it, and there is no go away from the technology. In terms of what is expected from the future finance professional, I think the vision. They need to have that visionary approach into the direction they are moving the economy or the particular business in the future, both in the short, medium, as well as in the long run. They also need to have a more people-centric approach, empathy, of course. They need to have more adaptability towards the technology, the planet, and of course, while doing all of this, they need to have the leadership skills as well.
The one skill that you need to learn, that you need to develop, that you need to cultivate is reading. Whether you are a finance professional or non-finance professional, the one strong skill that you need to develop is being able to read and assimilate information from across different areas, not just what you like, whether it is sports or cinema or biography. You just need to be able to absorb all this information so that you are better knowledgeable about and questioning and being able to critically think.
I was about to say reading. Now, because that is being covered, I'll say embrace the technology. There is no go away from the technology, and technology is not about using the mobile phones or running a couple of AI driven models, but embracing the technology is also not about learning the coding, but it is about ensuring that you are using the technology and making them leveraging that technology to the fullest onto what you are doing and making the maximum impact.
Change remains constant. That's my motto.
But I think continuous development. If I believe, and I firmly believe, that if you are in the best in the class, you are in the wrong class. So continue to develop yourself.
The world is full of opportunities. Grab them with both hands.
Have the right temperament and be disciplined.